Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of Let's Talk Sports Podcast with me, Lichia. So, this week, the rundown is we're going to hit one NFL piece of news which broke this morning, or yesterday if you're listening to this in the US. And then we're going to go and we're going to review the first round of the NBA playoffs, which I know you guys will be looking forward to my Lakers review. And then we're going to preview the next round of the playoffs, which have already started, but due to the Clippers and Mavericks series, I had to push this back just a little bit. So, the NFL news. Julio Jones has been traded to the Tennessee Titans for 2 second rounds, actually for 2 draft picks, and Julio got traded, and they also received a pick as well. I'm not 100% sure of the details, but I think that the Tennessee Titans are an incredible threat this year for the AFC, especially the AFC South, because I feel like it's way open. So the Tennessee Titans are receiving Julio Jones and a 6th round pick in 2023. The Atlanta Falcons are getting the 2nd round pick in 2022 and a 4th round pick in 2023, which really isn't that much to give up for Julio. But I seriously feel that Shannon Sharpe calling Julio while he was on air, which he didn't know that he was actually going to be on air at the time, saying, "Oh yes, I'm out if he did hurt his draft stock," which is a crappy thing to do, crappy thing for Shannon Sharpe to do. But that doesn't really sit well with me. That whole taping's like messing up with that, and especially in California where it's a 2-party consent state in terms of being recorded and being put on air. It's awkward. Anyway, so yeah, the Tennessee Titans are a huge threat in the AFC South now. I think it's between them and the Colts as to who's going to win that division. So yeah, that's going to be an incredible division to look for, because there's going to be 2 really good teams and 2 really bad teams in it at the same time. It's going to be funny. So, my review of the first round of the playoffs. The NBA playoffs. So, Utah have beaten Memphis 4-1. Utah are the real deal. They are making it to the conference finals. Like, without a doubt. They are making it to the conference finals. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing how the next series goes. The only reason why Memphis got the first game was because Donovan Mitchell was ruled out, and then when he came back, it was all she wrote. Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert are a really great 1-2 punch. Rudy is like a more athletic Shaq, and Donovan is like a mixture of Dwayne Wade and Kobe Bryant. It's really weird just to have a look and see them. Yeah. So moving on to the next, the Clippers beat Dallas in a 4-3. That series was awesome. Up until the last game, the home team didn't win on their home court, which is hilarious. Luka has arrived. Kristaps Porzingis needs to be a better number 2. I can clearly see why the Knicks wanted him out. On a number of reasons. I think that Kristaps is a little bit diva-ish, but I think that Luka might not be like as bad. won't affect. Like, Kristaps won't affect Luka as much as what Carmelo affected Kristaps, if you get what I mean. Yeah, I know. Weird timing. I've been working all day and it's been fairly stressful today, so this is me just calming down and trying to gather my thoughts. I've also just been for a run, so that's why I'm a little bit out of breath. Denver beat Portland in a 4-2 matchup. Dame time is a real thing. Dame time is a really real thing. He performed well in every single one of those games. In every one of those 6 games, he performed. He was the best player on that court. The best player on that court. If Portland had some other role players that won't step out of bounds, it would be amazing. Like, that team would be absolutely phenomenal. And with that, Portland have mutually parted ways with their head coach, and that is the first coach to go after this series. I will get to the other one later. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing where Portland goes. I think, quite frankly, Damian Lillard needs someone like Karl Anthony Towns with him as his number 2. Philly beats DC in 4-1. That was everyone knew that what that series was going on. Yeah, so it's that Philly are just too good. They're gonna make it to the conference finals. I think that's just a foregone conclusion. New York Knicks fall to the Hawks 4-1, and in the most disappointing series. That I don't know what happened to the Knicks. Like, they were really good. I think that it was a mixture of coaching as well as Julius Randle not playing well. Julius Randle clearly did not have the Mamba mentality in him to beat the Hawks, and he needed that. He needed a little bit more of Kobe in him to beat the Hawks. And that's it. He didn't have the mentality. It was his first time. I think he was a star. I think he didn't want it. And I think the Knicks were really, they were outplayed on many levels. But one of the levels is that none of their players seemed like they were comfortable in the New York crowd. That's really weird. I feel like the home court was better for the Hawks in that series. The Nets beat Boston, and in that series, they literally broke up Boston. So Danny Ainge has retired, and Brad Stevens is now the new Danny Ainge. And now Boston are looking for a new head coach. Next week, I'll be doing more of where I think coaches are going to go, because I think that they're waiting for more coaches to exit the playoffs so that they can interview. I don't think we're going to see any major coaching hires happen during the playoffs. I think it's all going to happen afterwards, just to see. Look for Chauncey Billups and Mike D'Antoni to get head coaching jobs. And also Nate McMillan to become the permanent Atlanta Hawks coach, because I think he deserves to be the permanent Atlanta Hawks coach. Next week I'll go through all the rest of the coaching hires that are open. Anyway, it felt good for Boston to lose. Felt very good. Now, we head to the series that literally broke my heart, and I'm not gonna lie, there were tears shed after the final game. The Lakers lose to the Suns 4-2. Now, I'm putting this down to health of the players. The Lakers had the 2 games that they won decisively. And you could tell that they were the better team on the court when both of their players were healthy. I think Devin Booker used the Mamba mentality the right way, and he wanted to show out in Kobe's building. And that's something that I think Laker fans, especially myself, have to realize, is that Kobe touched a lot of people, and people are going to want to come into the Staples Center and try and go all out for it, because they want to make sure that they are paying tribute to Kobe. And that sort of gets to me a little bit, because it's hard to see Devin Booker, who by all means loved Kobe so much, and they were a mentee-mentor relationship, and it just hurts to see that other players can abuse our court like that. Not abuse, that's the wrong word. Use our court and our home and Kobe's home, and we didn't step up to the challenge. Literally, the last 2 games felt like I felt so disappointed. And I'm almost about to cry now just talking about it, because it broke my heart. And I was talking to some people that I work with. They're like, well, you won the chip last year. And I was like, I'm a Lakers fan. We're not like the Detroit Pistons or the Cleveland Cavaliers, where we just expect one. We expect multiple. We expect back-to-back. We expect 3-peats. That is what we expect as a fan base. So that really did hurt. So I'm not going to lie, there was a lot of tears shed. And I don't know whether I've explained it in the right way or not here, but I hope you get where I'm going with it, instead of just me blurting out my thoughts and feelings. I feel like you needed to hear a little bit more of why. Anyway, let's move on to the next round of the playoffs. Philadelphia 76ers versus the Atlanta Hawks. So far, it's 1-0 up Hawks way. But my prediction is that it's going to be a gentleman's sweep of 4-1 Philly's way. I just think Philadelphia is so much better off, and whenever they're sort of working together, I think that they prove that they're the best team in the East. Got the Nets versus Bucks. So far, it's 1-0 to the Nets. My prediction is going to be a 4-2, because I think the long layoff time for the Bucks sort of affected them in a way, and they weren't in rhythm. I think the further on in this series that they get, the better off they're going to be. So for the Suns and the Nuggets, I think it's going to be a 4-3 Suns way. I think they're getting to the Western Conference Finals. And Jazz versus the Clippers, I think it's going to be 4-3 the Jazz way. Quite honestly, I would like to see Chris Paul make it to the finals. He deserves it. If anyone deserves making to the finals finally, it's Chris Paul. He puts his heart, blood and soul into that team and into the sport, and he's a future Hall of Famer, and I genuinely think that he needs to be in the finals against probably the Nets. And that'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see if Devin Booker can actually step up to that level. But yeah. So yeah, I've talked about the conference finals so far, but we've just got to stay true to what's going on here. And we've still got 6 weeks left of playoff NBA, and then the season's over. And then we're not seeing basketball again until October, which is going to be great. Anyway, that is all for this week's episode of Let's Talk Sports Podcast with me, Lucia. So I'll catch you all next week. Bye.